Okay, so for today's tutorial, you're going to need a lighter, a pair of scissors, and a blanket loom. For yarn, I grabbed this from Joann's, rest in peace, but it's the Bernat Blanket Extra Thick yarn. You're going to need probably about 3 of these for today's project. The first thing I like to do is know what size blanket I want. Today I'm going to be making a lap blanket, and these pegs are about 1 inch of spacing in between. So I like to count 22, 24 pegs depending how big you want your lap blanket to be. It's totally optional, but I personally like putting hair ties on my blanket loom just so I don't have to keep count. Like if this was 1, then I would like to put a little hair tie on 0. And if you bring it all the way down and then you count to 22, this would be peg 23. I put another little hair tie. So when you have it laying down, you don't need to count. You're just doing rows back and forth. To start off your blanket, you're going to need to make a slip knot, so just roll over the yarn over a couple fingers, pull through, and then tighten it. Move that slip knot down to peg 1 to then start your row. I'm going to show you how to do the first row. It's basically just slip knots all the way down. You're going to roll it over your fingers, pull the yarn through, and then hook that yarn up on the peg. Make sure it's not too tight, because then your blanket will start to roll up underneath itself. But just continue to make slip knots all the way down the chain. We finally reached the last peg of the row. You're going to go ahead and fasten off that last slip knot. But what's different about this last one is you're going to pull the yarn up and keep it on the inside of the blanket. You're still going to hook that last piece on, but be sure that yarn is on the inside of the blanket. We're on row 2 now. We're going to be making loops all the way down the chain. Now with this extra piece of yarn that's inside the blanket, we're going to be making loops down each peg. To make a loop, you're going to pull up that yarn that's on the peg, pull through the yarn under, and then hook it over. It's kind of hard to explain, so I'm just going to keep showing you examples. So pick up the yarn that's on the peg, take your fingers through, pull the yarn under, and then hook it over. We're still on the first row, but I'm going to show you from different angles. This one's from the side, but you're going to pinch your fingers through, pull it under, and then hook it over. Finishing row 1, you're going to go ahead and make that last chain. Now we're on the turning chain. You're going to do everything the exact same, but keep that yarn on the inside of the blanket. Be sure when you start your next row, don't start a loop into that turning chain. I'm just going to continue until I'm done with this big skein of yarn. When I'm done with that, which usually takes me about 45 minutes to an hour, I'll come back and I will show you how I like to connect the next ball of yarn for you guys. Go ahead and unravel your yarn. You're going to cut about 1 centimeter off both sides of the 2 pieces of yarn to get a clean surface area. We're connecting the 2 pieces of yarn by burning them together, so it's really important that that piece is flat. Just go ahead and burn 1 or 2, whatever you're comfortable with, and then just smush them together like that. When you feel that the yarn has finally cooled off, go ahead and test it out, see if it's strong. If it is, continue working down the blanket just as you normally would, going back and forth, and be sure to do your turning chains correctly. When you reach the length of the blanket that you want, you're going to go ahead and cast off the loom. To do that, you're going to get through the last loop, pull up 3 inches, and leave it casted off. Now you're going to go down the entire loom just casting off, pulling up the loops off the loom. It's going to feel really weird, but trust the process. Go ahead and take the loom off the table. We'll just be working with the blanket for the rest of this. To finish that last row, we're going to start off where we left that extra long loop on the blanket. and we're going to continue to make those long loops down the blanket. It's the same exact process, just pull up a loop like you usually would, and then just leave it hanging. Be sure these loops that you're pulling up are at least 3 to 4 inches long. Now that your row looks like this, we're going to start again back at that beginning chain that we made earlier, and we're going to fold it over all the way down. When you're working down the row, you'll notice that the blanket is going to start forming a nice clean edge. I forgot to film it earlier, but when you're finishing your blanket, go ahead and cut off the yarn, leaving a tail. You'll finish the last row like you normally would, trading over, but with the tail that you cut off, just tie it off. To weave in your ends, it's actually pretty easy. Just finger crochet down the blanket until you have about a couple inches left of that tail. When you feel good with how much you weaved in, just cut off the excess tail and then get your lighter so we could burn it into the blanket. It's the same process as joining 2 pieces of yarn, just light the end of the tail and then smush it into the blanket until it cools off. Alrighty, the blanket is done. I always like to go back and lint roll it because I have 3 cats and you've probably seen them in this video, but I don't like hair getting on any presents that I'm giving people. But this is the final blanket.